Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And I always see them. And today we're going to piss off a lot of people about these Jordan videos, but that's your damn business. I got to get into it. So before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel here. Now, just this morning, I came across an interview from Paul George on his show, the Paul George podcast or something like that. He was on there with two other gentlemen, an actor, but it's not really important. Anyway, he was on there. And he was talking about a range of things, right? And I think what made this particular podcast so entertaining was that the questions that they were asking Paul George on the podcast with Paul George, they were so basketball centric, and you can tell that the gentlemen who hosted this show were guys that really watch basketball, but also pay attention to some of the debates that go on in the NBA world based on some of the questions that they were asking. I think they did a very good job of asking Paul George some of these questions here. But then it got to a point in the interview where they asked him to define who's the GOAT, or who's the GOAT in his opinion, right? And Paul George started to get into his explanation. But then at the very beginning, he says something that I found to be quite interesting about what he thought MJ would have done had he been playing, or had he knew what the narrative would have been today. So we want to play what Paul George had to say. We want you guys to listen to it carefully, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Paul George had to say here, and we'll react to that.
So shout out Bron, man. Is he the GOAT? James. I don't like this discussion because obviously if MJ was playing and MJ was like, MJ's so competitive, like, all right, I'm gonna go as long as Bron goes. Like, right. If MJ knew what was to come after him,
I think he would have.
I think, yeah, absolutely. MJ took, you know what I mean? Took years off, came back, took years off. Like, if MJ knew that there was this LeBron specimen coming, like he definitely would have been like, all right, I ain't taking no years off. Like, we gonna keep elevating this. So it's hard to give that debate on like the GOAT. And I hate that people compare the two. Yeah, he's the GOAT of I think this generation. You got to give him that with what he's doing and what he's done. But all time, like, it's just like, I don't ever want to like just say one is over the other, because to be honest, like, MJ wasn't asked to do what LeBron is asked to do. Like, different game, different styles, different position. LeBron's not asked to do what Jordan does. You know what I mean? So it's hard to debate the two and say who is the GOAT.
What actually makes you a GOAT is what I really want to know.
What is that? And people don't define that. People don't define that. They want to do stats. They want to, but it's deeper than stats to me.
You would say championship. There's so many things.
There's so many variables.
Say, like, what is actually a GOAT?
Right. Because you think championships, you think Bill Russell.
Real talk.
You know what I mean?
He got what, 11, right?
He got 11.
It's like,
so it's like, what is the GOAT? Like, clarify
what other accolades that you do in it and how good you do. But you got to open a school,
right?
You got to produce movies. You got to be a billionaire in the NBA.
Right.
You got to put all your friends on. Thank you, Pete, for putting this on. You got to do a lot of things, I guess, to be the GOAT.
Yeah, he's one of the GOATs. Absolutely,
because his shoes don't sell like the GOAT.
Not yet.
Yeah, his shoes
are like, they not selling like Jordan's.
Yeah. No. His is iconic. Jordan's is iconic. Jordan is the reason why, like, we have shoes. Like, we have signature shoes.
So he brought up a few things. He said that he believes that LeBron is the GOAT of this era. Perfectly fine if that's what he believes. No problem. But I think the biggest point he brought up, a part of how do you define a GOAT? Is it this? Is it that? The biggest point he brought up that I want to focus on is, he said, if MJ knew what it was going to be about today, he believes that MJ would have, number one, played longer and would have played for more records. Meaning MJ would have probably tried to go after the scoring title, maybe go after most steals or whatever it is, whatever milestone he was able to achieve, right? And to me, it exposes something about the narrative or the conversation around the NBA today. And what I mean is that this current NBA is not so much about what you've done. It's more about the narratives you shape or you weave around what you want those things to be interpreted as. It's all about narratives today. Because now you can, for example, some people can take that LeBron just, eclipsed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the scoring record. And some people can then say, because he's done this, this should now make him the GOAT, right? Because of that particular thing that happened. He was chasing that thing. So now we can use this as a narrative. Or another person can say, this person has X amount of regular season MVPs. Or this person can say this. This person can say, I think if Jordan understood that this is where the sports world would be right now in the present day, he would have probably done things a little bit differently. Because to me, I think his main goal coming to the NBA was to win championships and to basically beat everybody. I think really that was his major goal. I don't think Jordan was really interested in teaming up with guys and, doing whatever it took to win championships by hook or crook. He's like, no, I want to win these championships and I want to beat all of you guys doing it. I'm going to have my own squad over here, but all the all-stars and the superstars and all of that, you give me one all-star and you can keep the rest. One or two all-stars, y'all can keep the rest. Let's go at it and see who's the top dog here. I don't see, and Jordan said it, he could never have imagined calling up Larry Bird or Magic Johnson and these guys or Hakeem yo, let's play together. He's like, no, I want to beat these guys. Now, here's the irony in all of that and what Paul George just said. Even though Jordan didn't play for 20 years, or he played for 15 years, he still has some of the most impressive, or arguably the most impressive resume in NBA history. That's the punchline. Even after not playing for narratives, he easily has, in my opinion, and the opinion of many, the most impressive resume of any basketball player. There's no, let's stop. Now, some people say, well, it's Kareem. That's why I have Kareem number 2 all time. So that Kareem is the most accomplished basketball player of all time in terms of his success at a collegiate level, at the NBA level. We understand that. But in terms of the NBA, nah, I'm not giving y'all that one. I just don't see how. I just really don't see how it's not MJ by a landslide. I mean, I really don't see it. Who here, what player can you bring up that his team in an 8-year window lost no more than 3 games? Who you got? Who you got for me? Who do you have? If that is not the definition, if that is not the definition of dominance, then what is? Then what is? Think about this for a second. Name me the player that won the MVP. Listen to what I'm telling you. That won the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, made all first defensive team in the same season. Who's done that? Who's done that? How many players were winning scoring titles and still making all NBA first defense? How many players are doing that? How many? How many players are doing that? How many players can walk around and say, you know what? In the championship games, I'm undefeated. Now, of course, you're going to have some bozos in the background and say, well, what about all the other rounds of the playoffs? And to that I say, well, what about all the other rounds in the playoffs? Because if you want to base it an argument about losing, I suggest you turn around and just walk right back out. You cannot argue, you cannot use losing as an argument against Jordan if your player or if your favorite player has been a bigger loser. You can't do that. That's like backwards thinking. You can't do that. So whenever people try to do that, just laugh at them. No one has a resume like this. No one has 6 finals MVPs. 6 of them. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. To go with 10 scoring titles. To go with 5 regular season MVPs. To go with the highest regular season scoring average. To go with the highest playoff scoring average. To have that streak of going 8 years with your team not losing more than 3 games. To then also lead the league in steals 3 separate times. To have like more 40-point games than LeBron and maybe Stephen Curry combined. Like who do you like? So when you put all of those things together, and of course his impact on the game, the way he took it to an international level, the way to the point where there's been, you see, the joke is there's been no player since Michael Jordan that has made people care more about basketball than MJ. That's just the reality. The numbers will tell you that. You can just go look at the numbers and they'll tell you that. So to me, I agree with Paul George that if MJ was playing today and he understood that this thing was going to be all about narratives, maybe he would have tried to elongate his NBA career. But even with him not knowing that, he still ended up being the GOAT. Like, again, if you're not bringing me Kareem, you're wasting my time. And I think you're wasting everybody's time. And this is just my personal view. Some people say Will, some people say others. This is just my personal view. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about what Paul George had to say? What do you think about the argument I had to make? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And we catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.